In this lecture, we're going to learn the order of operations and how to simplify an expression. First of all, we're going to learn this little phrase, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." I'll talk in a minute what this means. But let me give you a typical example. We want to simplify this expression. -3 times the quantity 5 minus 7 squared plus 4 minus 2 times the absolute value of -6. A lot going on in this expression. There's a lot of ways that we could try to simplify this, but there's really only one way to do it correctly. Okay? Now, there's an order in which we're going to do things. That's where this phrase comes in. Okay? Each first letter of each word represents an operation. And here is the order. The P in please represents parentheses. We are always going to do parentheses first. The E represents exponents. The M, multiplication. The D, division. The A, addition. And the S, subtraction. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Some people memorize it as PEMDAS. It doesn't matter. Okay? So let's go ahead and try this problem. Okay? I'm going to write the order right here. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay? That's why some people refer to it as PEMDAS. But this is the order in which we're going to do things. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to look for parentheses. Here are some parentheses. The absolute value, I'm going to treat that as parentheses. So I'm going to fix these two pieces. So I'm not going to touch anything else. So let's go ahead and fix the parenthesis. 5 minus 7 is -2 squared plus 4 minus 2. And the absolute value of a -6 is 6. So we've done the parentheses portion. Now I look for exponents. There's one exponent right there. So -2 squared is 4. So I'll simplify that, and I'll just rewrite everything else. Don't be afraid to use a lot of ink or a lot of pencil. Okay, the more steps you write, the better chance that you're going to have that you're going to get it right. Now, we've done the P, we've done the E. Now we do multiplication first, then division. Actually, multiplication and division have the same order. Okay? We just want to do multiplication from left to right. Okay? Addition and subtraction also have the same order. It doesn't matter if we subtract before we add. But we have to multiply certainly before we add. So I see two multiplications right here and right here. -3 times 4 is -12 plus 4 minus 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, let's see if I did that right. -3 times 4 is -12 plus 4 minus 2 times 6 is 12. Okay? And now we simply add or subtract from left to right. -12 plus 4, that's -8. I'll bring down this -12. -8 minus 12 is -20. And we're done. Now notice we usually get a nice little triangular situation here. Once we do all the steps, each step becomes simpler and simpler. Okay? Let's try a couple more examples. Okay, I'll darken this up here. All right. -5 times the 4th root of 16 minus -2 times -3. Again, I'm going to just write our order. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Now you're not going to have to do this every time because you're going to memorize that after a while. But I like to do this just so I can keep everything straight. Parentheses. Do I have anything to fix in parentheses? Well, no. Everything's kind of by itself, so there's no parentheses. Exponents. Well, the root and exponents are synonymous. So whenever we see roots, that's going to be in the exponent operation position. So let's go ahead and figure out the 4th root of 16. Let's see, the 4th root of 16 is 2, since 2 to the 4th equals 16. Okay, so I'm going to simplify just that piece. -5 Fourth root of 16 we just said was 2. And I'll just rewrite everything else. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do multiplication. Negative 5 times the 2 is a negative 10. Minus, I'll just bring that down. Negative 2 times negative 3 is a positive 6. Okay. And now I'll add or subtract. I'll combine these, and a negative 10 and a negative 6 is negative 16. Okay. All right. Let's try one more. Negative 2/3 times 27 minus 6 divided by 1/2 times 16 plus 2/3. Now this looks like a pretty complicated problem, but if we have our order of operations handy, so I'll write those out. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And if we take it one step at a time, it shouldn't be too bad. Well, first let's notice that I have a fraction symbol here, and that represents division. So whenever I see this, I want to think of everything in the numerator in parentheses and everything in the denominator in parentheses. Okay? So the way I'm going to first attack this problem is I'm going to do the top parentheses first, then I'll do the bottom parentheses, and then I'll take it from there. So let's try to simplify the top parentheses. Okay, first thing, I need to go inside and I need to do my order of operations from within here. The first thing I have to do is the multiplication, and then I'll do the subtraction. So let's multiply a negative 2/3 times 27. Well, certainly I can reduce this. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 27 9 times. And negative 2 times a positive 9 is a negative 18 minus 6. So notice already the top is getting a little bit easier. And then I'll go ahead and simplify from there. Negative 18 minus 6, negative 24. So I've simplified the top. Now we'll go down and simplify the bottom parentheses. Again, I have to follow my order of operations. The first thing I need to do is the multiplication. 1/2 times 16, well again I can cancel. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 1 times 8 is 8. So I get 8 plus 2/3. All right, so it's getting a little easier. Now, I've already simplified the top parenthesis all the way. I have to simplify 8 plus 2/3. So let's come down here. This might be on scratch paper, and I'll try to simplify 8 plus 2/3. This will be good review for adding fractions together. Certainly I can write 8 as 8 over 1. And what we need to do when we add fractions together is we have to get a common denominator. My common denominator in this case is going to be 3. So I'm going to need to change this one to a 3, and I can do that by multiplying the top and bottom by 3. So now I get 8 over 1 converting to 24/3 plus 2/3. And now that I have a common denominator, I can just simply add the numerators together and get 26/3. So what I've done is I've done this addition on scratch paper. 8 plus 2/3 we just saw was 26/3. All right, now we're almost done. Okay, let me go ahead and just rewrite what I have here. And let's just simplify from there. Now, how do we divide fractions if we remember? When we divide fractions, we simply invert the divisor and multiply. Okay? And again, maybe we can do some cancellation and make this easier on ourselves. A 2 can go into 24 12 times. A 2 can go into 26 13. And now we can multiply the numerators together. Let's see, what's the sign going to be? A negative times a positive. Well, when I have different signs, the resulting is going to be negative. 12 times 3, 36 over 13. Okay, so this nasty problem that we started with, we went through all the procedures, all our order of operations. We did the parentheses first, simplified. We got it down to this easier expression, and then we just divided, and we came up with the final answer, negative 36/13. Okay, so what you need to really do is when you do these order of operations, write down, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS, and go through each step systematically, and you should find that after a while these get easier and easier for you.